Good afternoon. My name is Stone Nicholson,
And my name is Braswell,
and we'll be presenting our Natural Resource Recreation Project over the construction of the NSA trail extensions, specifically the Big Woods side of the NSA. Our objective for this project was to create a beautiful path through the Big Woods side of the NSA that can be used by students, faculty, and local residents of Tifton and Tift County for recreational use. Hiking has many benefits, both physically and mentally, so we wanted to allow students at the ABAC College to have a green space available. The premise that we came up with was connecting people to nature. What was achieved during our project? We were able to construct a 950-foot extension trail through the nature study area that offers unique perspectives throughout the Slash Pine Stand. The ABAC campus itself is often used as an outdoor classroom, so the trail will allow for more ease of access through the NSA for outdoor labs and classes.
So time to complete our project. Our project took around 2.5 months of on and off work to complete. Majority of the work was completed by February 16th. Below is an attached timesheet that we used, and I'll kind of go through that now. 1 hour we used for trail mapping, GIS pre-planning, and map creation, and we did that on of January 24th. And so what we did there was actually we went out, flagged our trail, and we ended up taking GPS waypoints at each point of the flag. So we kind of ended up having a rough idea of what our trail would look like. And we ended up importing those points into GIS and making a map for our proposal. Then we took 3 hours on 2 days, February 9th and 16th, for brush clearing and raking, and we'll get more into that in the future slides. And then 1 hour for final map creation on ArcGIS, which we did on 4-3, that would have been April 3rd. If you notice that we only have 8 hours, that's not a typo. We only have 8 hours because our stakeholders, Mr. Ford and Dr. Lane, ended up suspending our project for the time being due to flooding issues, which we will mention more in the future. The total cost of the project was $10.83. The only items we actually had to purchase was fuel for the brush cutter and the push mower that we used. So the gas for the brush cutter was $7.54 after tax, and we actually used premix gas for that, so we purchased that from Lowe's. And the gas for the push mower, we priced out at $3.29 a gallon, with the total being $10.83 in total.
Before we started the construction of the trail physically, we needed to meet with our stakeholders, Dr. Lane and Mr. Ford, to figure out what their objectives and goals were of the project. So to start the planning process, we met with Dr. Lane for a prospective trail walk to figure out where the trail should lead and where the bridge location should be. During our walk, she expressed many concerns, one of which being
So the main concern she expressed was protecting herbaceous species such as wiregrass and toothache grass. Wiregrass being pictured on the left here, and toothache grass being pictured on the right. These were mainly on the upland parts of the trail, and the main goal for protecting them was to flag them out. So we walked along the edge of the trail, found any basically herbaceous communities that may have them. We searched around, found a couple, and we flagged them out to save them from trample from people veering off the trail or outdoor labs occurring in the big woods. These are both native grasses, and in today's world, they're becoming more and more rare due to other species outcompeting them and lack of fire in the ecosystem. So we wanted to protect them as much as we could. So our first day of work, we flagged the entrance of the trail, and we had to go through a really thick patch of tussock grass. Where our goal was to make the trail a little wider, about 5 to 6 feet. So we took the brush cutter and painstakingly went through and chopped all the tussock grass down. But some stuff the brush cutter couldn't handle, and this is where stone comes into the picture.
So the preferred tool of my choice during the construction of the project was the rogue hoe. The rogue hoes served to be very beneficial in removing large woody stumps, large woody debris, and resprouts.
And on the second day of work, we found out the brush cutter was taking too much time, so we talked to Dr. Lane about an alternative, and she was grateful enough to provide us with a push lawnmower of her own. It was like hers, so we thank her for that. And it made things speed up a fairly good bit, where we actually were able to finish the debris clearing of the trail in 2 days. So the challenges that we have, same thing. It couldn't run over stumps, sprouts, anything like that. So we removed them with the Roco. And as we got further down to the creek, flooding issues started to occur, and we actually got the thing bogged down a little bit. We washed it whenever we got back and made it look all nice and pretty.
Pictured above in the picture is the trail entrance in relation to the NSA parking lot. Visitors of the trail can park at the NSA parking lot and make their way down the dirt road roughly 450 feet and be greeted by a beautiful trail entrance. Pictured here is the trail entrance itself in completion. There is a no horses sign to prevent erosion and trail damage, and an informational kiosk about the stand itself, providing information about wildlife, the slash pines, and also includes a trail map so people don't get lost. The following pictures here are perspectives of individual experience when they hike down the trail. So this picture specifically is right after you go through the entrance of the trail and start your way down the serpentine. This is a little further after that last slide. And this picture right here is what we consider the midway point, as it serpentines through the gallberry and ferns. This picture right here, as you make your way down the trail, you'll be greeted by a loop. It will veer off to the left or to the right. It is up to the individual which way they would like to go. When we created the trail, we specifically made it go right and loop around left, where it will meet back at the intersection, and the individual will make their way back. As they make their way back, they will experience this perspective. So as they exit the stand and make their way through the entrance of the trail to the exit, this is the perspective they will have.
Okay, some issues occurring when we were basically building this trail. We mentioned it before, but it was the issue of standing water and flooding. The reason our project basically got discontinued for now was because our shareholder, Mr. Ford, walked down to the trail and wanted to walk it and saw how bad it was, how flooded and everything like that. We were originally going to put mulch. That's been delayed too, so we'll get more into that in future goals. But if you noticed in some previous pictures, the trail may have looked overgrown and weedy. We actually plan on going back out there and mowing it down one more time. But of course, it rained again, so we didn't get a chance to, or else we'd be sloshing in water, and I'm not sure if that lawnmower could hold up to it. The reason why it flooded, rain being the obvious reason, for those of you in fire, it is the El Nino year, so a lot of rain. And the herbaceous vegetation and small woody stuff that we removed basically made the water table rise a little bit and ended up flooding parts of our trail. We decided not to mulch for these reasons, and like I said, it's already prevented us from going back and doing any more trail maintenance.
So pictured here is the map of the Big Woods Trail. And then this next slide is the areas of flooding. Those can be labeled by the purple ovals, which can be at the entrance, the midway point, and as you make your way through the loop, you can see that the flooding is more prominent due to the creek in the back. The next slides we're going to show you are those prominent areas highlighted in purple. Just to show what the problems are and the challenges that we are facing now. You can see the entrance itself is flooded, which can not be a good experience for recreational use. And as you make your way down the trail, you can see more spots of the flooding occurring. You can see right there at the bottom, there's a flooded pool of water. And as you make your way through the back of the serpentine, through the gallberry, you can see that the flooding becomes more prominent. These next slides are all the last slide I showed you, this slide and the next slide are all roughly the same area, and it's all flooded. This is the most problematic area, and this spot itself is about a 25-foot stretch of flooded trail, which is a concern of ours. As you make your way through the back, which flooding is more prominent, the intersection of the trail also floods at the loop.
Okay, another issue that we had was the basically unwanted species threatening to take over our trail in the future, mainly being red maple and Chinese tallow tree, and in some cases in the wetter areas, sweet bay magnolia. This is because of sprouts. We weren't too concerned with the gallberry. It grows back slow enough, and you can kind of run over it with the mower, and Stone could attest. We ran over some about 3 or 4 foot high piece of gallberry, and it just mowed it straight down. So we're not really worried about that. But the big issue with those species would be, especially red maple, would be sprouting. There's been a fire through there in the recent years that's top killed them, but they're starting to sprout back out. We eliminated them, or I wouldn't say eliminated, but we cut them down with a row hoe. But to fully eliminate them, we would need some type of herbicide for control because the roco just won't do it on its own. They'll just come back, and you'll just keep having to cut them down and cut them down. So we're aiming to eliminate the problem at the source.
What's next for the Big Woods Trail? So our number one concern and problem we are facing at the moment is the issue of standing water. This raises the question if we should mulch or not, and if we can't, what should we do? The mulching consideration, if we do add mulch, the stand is often used for fire labs and treated by fire routinely. So if there is mulch added, will that be a hazard to the fire class or the stand itself? If we cannot mulch, there needs to be an alternative in place.
So the alternative we thought of was to actually avoid the flooded areas altogether. We can probably get around mulch at the entrance. It's not as bad as down near the creek. So if we had to put mulch somewhere, we'd do that. And then we just make a big loop around the upper portions of the Big Woods. The only problem there is there's actually two problems. The native species we mentioned, such as wiregrass and toothache grass, they're more abundant in those areas, so we'll have to take more planting, more flagging, and greater risk to those species. Another one would be, it would just be a big loop. You would just go walk to the Big Wood side, and it wouldn't connect anywhere else in the NSA.
Like Braswell was saying, the trail in itself right now in its completion is just a loop. It is a back and forth from entrance to exit, which the exit is now the entrance. So what can be done in the future is extending the trail to connect the NSA as a whole. A bridge can be added at the creek crossing, and another extension trail can be made on the other side to make the NSA a whole trail.
In our closing remarks, we felt like even though we didn't achieve our final goal, the fully mulched path, beautiful trail and everything like that, and that was mainly because of the rain, we did end up constructing the basis of a path through the Big Woods. The trail still requires some maintenance, but the maintenance will be minimal, mainly mowing, and it's, like we said, it's mainly just herbaceous plants and gallberry, so it's pretty easy to mow down. We felt our project was an overall success despite setbacks because we built the framework for a trail that will be used for education and recreation for generations to come.
We would like to mention a thanks to our stakeholders, Dr. Lane and Mr. Ford, for all their help during the pre-planning and construction of the trail. They provided a lot of tips and tricks, tools, recommendations to use during the construction, which provided to be very useful in their help. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope you got something out of this, and we hope you can enjoy our trail in the future months to come.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.